morning, dear children. I hope everyone are good and fine. Standard 8th, school name St. Joseph Ghorpadi, Pune. Subject History. Students, now I will ask you a question. You will just take a minute and think. What are the periods of history? Children, these concepts you have learned in your 5th standard or 6th, 7th, isn't it? Just guess the answer. Very good. Number 1, the ancient time period. Number 2, the medieval period. Number 3, early modern period. And the number 4, the modern time period. So all these are the periods of history. The ancient time, then comes the medieval period, then comes the early modern period, and now the modern time period. So today we will learn about modern Indian history in this new chapter, that is unit number 2, Europe and India. So we will learn how the country Europe has a great impact on India. Let's begin. Children, here are few learning objectives. By the end of the lesson, you will get to know about the events happening in Europe during this period. Which period? Yes, the modern Indian history period. Let's start. Children, this is the world map. As you can see, Asia and Europe. So this is called Eurasia. So we are going to study about Eurasia. The first concept is Renaissance. Children, what is Renaissance? Just think. Renaissance is change. What is Renaissance means? A change. So let's read. The changes brought about in the European society in the last phase of medieval period, that is from 13th to 16th century, is known as period of Renaissance. So children, always remember, the period of Renaissance is the changes. Changes. What do you mean by changes, children? Something important has happened that has brought changes in different fields. Let's see what are the fields. Through the fields of scientific and geographical discoveries. So children, now please read what is Renaissance. The changes brought about in the European society in the last phase of medieval period, that is 13th to 16th century, is known as period of Renaissance. What is Renaissance? Changes. In which field changes were brought? In the scientific and geographical discoveries. Now, what was the first change brought? See the term religious reforms. The term religious means different religions. Children, what is this picture here? This picture is about right, it is a church in Europe. Now let's read in detail what is religious reforms. Certain changes brought about in religions. The European society was totally under the influence of nobles, priests, and kings. Children, at that time, the whole European society was under the influence. Okay, there were many nobles, there were many priests, and there were many kings. Due to them, the Christian priests were taking undue advantage of the ignorance of the people. Children, see the word ignorance. What is the term ignorance means? That means the people, they don't know anything at that time. So the Christian priests, they were taking undue advantage. Now let's see what advantages they were taking of the common people. Children, you can see this picture here. Suppose if a person has done sin, so they used to exchange, they used to give money for forgiveness. All these practices were taking place. They performed unnecessary rituals. They looted people in name of religion. So in this, what change was brought? Just think. So children, due to this religious movement, it brought about what? Awakening among people. So the people, they got knowledge what is going around. So it was due to, what is this picture, children? Who is he? Martin Luther. He was a German priest. So as people read Luther's thesis, they began to agree with him. A movement began called the Reformation that led to religious reform throughout the Europe. Second, changes in the field of art. Children, what is art? Just discuss it in your own words. Art means drawing. It can be painting, it can be any showcase of your talents, dance, anything. So art. So let's see what were the changes in the field of art. Art means drawing. Previous time, art was given importance only to few people like kings, queens, nobles. The common people were not allowed to draw. See children, at that time only the kings, the rich ones, queens, nobles, they were allowed. And the common people, they were not allowed to draw or not showcase their talent also. Children, what is this picture? What is this painting about? I know this, everyone will know. Yes, it is of Mona Lisa. Children, do you know who was Mona Lisa? She was a common girl from a common people. And this picture depicts about her smiling face. She was just a common girl. but due to her painting, she was known by everyone. Children, now the second picture. What is the second picture about? It is about the Last Supper. So this painting is very famous. Everyone will be knowing Mona Lisa painting and the Last Supper. Do you know these paintings were made of whom? Okay, this painting was done by Leonardo da Vinci. Leonardo da Vinci. Leonardo da Vinci was recognized as an all-round personality of the period of Renaissance. His paintings of Mona Lisa and the Last Supper became immortal. So children, due to Leonardo da Vinci, he was an artist. Okay, children, he was known for his various sculpture, architecture, but due to his paintings of Mona Lisa and the Last Supper, he became immortal. Everyone saw his paintings of Mona Lisa and the Last Supper. It became very famous. They brought change in the field of art by including human emotions. So children, Leonardo da Vinci, he was very faithful in humanitarianism. Humanitarianism. What is this term means, children? Given importance to humans, human emotions was the change that brought like treating each other as human beings, not to see he's rich or he's poor, nothing. Every person is equal, everyone is equal. So this was the change that has brought. Now we will see the third change, that is changes in the field of literature. Children, what is the term literature? What do you mean by literature? Let's see. Children, what is this picture? This is printing press. And do you know this printing press is invented by whom? This printing press is invented by Johannes Gutenberg. Johannes Gutenberg. And this is the printing press invented by Johannes Gutenberg. He was from Germany who had discovered the printing press. Children, due to this discovery, new ideas, concepts, and knowledge were discovered. So children, can you think how changes would be brought by printing press? Okay, at that time, only the kings, the nobles, the queens, they were allowed to read, and only one Bible was there. But later on, the Bibles was made in different languages: English, French, German. Newspapers were invented, and everyone were given chance to read, to get acquainted of knowledge. Now the fourth change, that is the geographical discoveries. Now Geographical discoveries. What comes in your mind? All the geographical factors around us. In 1453, the Ottoman Turks captured Constantinople, Istanbul, the capital of Byzantine Empire, in which the only land route joining was Europe and Asia. Children, we had seen in the first map Eurasia. This led to the discovery of new routes. Some European sailors like Bartolomeo das Dias in 1487 AD discovered the Cape of Good Hope at tip of African continent. So this was a first sailor, a European sailor who discovered the Cape of Good Hope at the tip of African continent. The second sailor is Christopher Columbus, who landed on the eastern coast of American continent and discovered America in 1482. The third sailor is very important, children. The only Portuguese sailor, Vasco de Gama, successfully managed in passing the Cape of Good Hope and reached the Indian coast in Calicut in 1498 AD. So children, out of this all sailors in the year 1948 AD, only Vasco da Gama passed the Cape of Good Hope and reached the Indian coast in Calicut. This is the picture of Vasco da Gama. Children, we have learned about the changes. Now let's see about what are revolutions. We will learn four types of revolutions. Number one, intellectual revolutions. Number two, political revolutions. Number three, French Revolution. Number four, Industrial Revolution. Let's go to number one, that is intellectual revolutions. Intellectual revolutions is also called scientific discoveries. Now, what are the scientific discoveries? Look at these two pictures. This is the revolution speed and distance, Earth's revolution. The Earth revolves around the sun and the people are watching the planets. So now children, at that time, many people, they had blind faith and ignorance. Like how come the planets are moving? How the earth is moving around the sun? Like this, all such questions were coming up. So it formed a critical point of view. The society starts stepping out of the past ignorance and the blind faith. All these gave rise to scientific discoveries in Europe. So children, slowly scientific discoveries came and they started knowing that all these are natural. It is not blind faith, not superstitions. All this brought changes. Let's see let's see the second revolution, that is political revolution. In the beginning of the modern period, political changes took place in Europe. So in the beginning, political changes took place in Europe due to various revolutionary events during 18th and 19th century. is known as the Age of Revolutions. Children, very important. During 18th and 19th century is known as the Age of Revolutions. Parliamentary democracy was developed in England. So in England, parliamentary democracy was developed. There was change in the form of cabinet system. The Bill of Rights 1689 laid restrictions on the powers of kings. So, very important, what was established in the parliament in England? Sovereignty. So, all these are the political revolutions that took place in Europe. Now, children, so many revolutions happened. So, due to these revolutions, scientific revolutions, intellectual revolutions, because of that, American War of Independence took place. So let's see how. With the discovery of America, many Europeans went and settled there in this continent. So children, America was discovered. Europeans people, they went and settled in this continent. The imperialistic European countries took control of different regions of America, and established their own colonies. England was the first country to enter this continent. England established 13 colonies. How many colonies England established? 13 on the eastern coast of America. 13 colonies had different rules, regulations, government. So because of that, England had nominal domination, later led oppressive restrictions and taxes on the natives of America. They forced people to grow crops they want in England. See children, sugar, grains, tobacco, all these they had forced. So because of that, the American people, they told we will not do all this. So they started revolting against this taxes. Children, do you remember the Boston Tea Party? See, this is the event of the Boston Tea Party that took place. Children, what is this picture? It is George Washington. Very important part, children. Because of George Washington, the American colonies took leadership of George Washington and finally won against England, a new nation known as the United States of America, with a federal government, written constitution based on the principles of democracy was born. Next, French Revolution. This is King Louis XVI. He was an oppressive and unjust ruler. People of France revolted against the uncontrolled and unjust monarchy, feudalism, and established a republic. This event is known as the French Revolution. So the French people, they were against this their king Louis. The French Revolution took place and gave to the world the three values: liberty, equality, fraternity. So children, so all these three values, they are very, very important. So children, it is very important to know the values of liberty, equality and fraternity. Children, in our own constitution, we have these values. The right of persons to life with human dignity, equality in all status, protection of the laws, and the sense of belonging with the country. The last revolution is the Industrial Revolution, the age of machines is Industrial Revolution, and this began in England. In the latter period of 18th century, there were many technological innovations in Europe. Children, slowly, the age of technology took place. Here, railways, machines, all these started taking place in Europe, and this is known as World Factory. So, Industrial Revolution. What is Industrial Revolution? The age of machines. Many technological innovations started taking place in Europe. This was the changes brought, and it began in England. So here, children, we end up. So students, we have studied about modern period and events happening in Europe. In the next session, we will learn more about it. Students, do check the Google form for you to revise and practice. Click on the link and solve the questions. This is your homework. Collect few information about famous painters, writers, scientists during Renaissance period with the help of reference book, internet. Thank you students. Have a nice day. God bless you.